Good morning, good evening from Nottingham in the United Kingdom to all feasters around the world. I'm thrilled to be here as always on day 4 for Feast for the Soul. And I'd like to introduce myself first, and then I'm going to introduce my collaborator for the next 6 Tuesdays, Martin Perry. And then we'll move into a meditation for about 20 minutes. So for those people who I haven't met before, many of you have been on Feast for the Soul for many years. Last year we were fortunate enough to do it all on Zoom. And then continue feasting after Feast for the Soul 40 Day finished and keep our practice alive. As I said, I'm based in Nottingham. I am a nurse. I am an Ayurvedic educator with the Chopra Centre, and I'm also a meditation and mindfulness teacher with the McLean Institute under the expert tutelage of Sarah McLean, who's the director of Feast for the Soul. And weaving all the various experiences of life together, I went through a very dark patch in my own life, no different to most of us. But it allowed me to move into a place of finding more healing. And I found more light in my life, and I found my way to meditation and mindfulness and practice every day. So this practice comes from deep integrity of being, like us all, a practitioner, and I just love it. It makes all the difference in my life. And I trust that it's making a difference in your life too. So I'd like to introduce you to a friend and a local gentleman. Turns out we've lived close to each other most of our life. And his name here is Martin Perry. And let me just introduce you. Martin, if hopefully you will be on Spotlight, but I'll pin you. Let me just pin you again. Pin, here we are. So Martin is a luminologist. And his fascination with light began as a child. Growing up in Blackpool, which is very close to where I grew up, it's a seaside resort that every autumn the whole promenade is lit up by a dazzling array of coloured lights. Martin has the 23 Light Project, and he's bringing this into full awareness of the coding of our DNA at conception and birth, and how they impact upon how we become. So this will be put in the chat, but I'd like to welcome Martin now. Hopefully we can see each other. And Martin, can you see me okay?
Well, I've got the gallery view, but I can see you in the gallery view, so it's completely okay.
Well, welcome. I'm so thrilled for this collaboration. Martin and I have been talking a lot about light over the last week or so for this meditation, which is a meditation on the first lights. So Martin, could I just ask you to say hi to everybody and just say a few words about what the 23 lights are and how they came into your awareness?
Yeah, thanks for the invitation, Sue, and hello everybody. This is a real great pleasure to be here. So yeah, the 23 Lights project probably began for real maybe 4 years ago, when I became kind of curious about why there are so many different words that describe light and the human experience. So, for example, what's the difference between bright and brilliant? What's the difference between glow and shining? What's the difference between dazzling and luminescent, or incandescent, or iridescent? It can't be one thing. Light can't be one thing, otherwise it would have one name, and language is very specific. So I thought, well, I wonder how many different definitions there are of light that have played themselves out inside the human journey, the human story. So I basically researched this for maybe a year and came up with 23 lights that I could recognize from my own experience of life and living, and other people could too. So 23 lights. So immediately I thought, well, if there's 23 lights, how does that relate to 23 chromosomes? And then what if light is coded into our DNA? at the point of conception and birth. And this was kind of validated by the research in 2016 at Northwest University in Illinois, where they discovered that at the point of conception, there's a flash of light that's woven into our DNA. So this got me really kind of fascinated and thought, well, how would I then discover how those lights have played out in my own life? So I went back through the story of my life and looked at moments where I felt lit up, or moments that would live forever, or moments that had something about them that defined me or my experience of living. And what I discovered was patterns. So maybe, let's say I found 40 moments or experiences in my life that I feel would never leave me. I could then see those 40 moments could be categorized against 7 lights, so iridescent moments where I was loved championing originality, or incandescent moments where I loved kind of breaking down barriers, or laser light moments that had like a supreme focus and clarity about them, or moments of glow where there was a lot of giving and generosity, or moments of sparkle that were effervescent with joy and being fully alive, and divine moments where one could feel really very close to the presence of life itself. So there were 7 or 8 main themes, main light patterns that I'd experienced. So it made me wonder, well, what if that constitutes my unique code, the thing that makes me the only me there's ever been in the history of the universe, and that each human being has their own light code. And when we discover our light code, we can also measure how many of those lights are switched on currently and to what extent they're switched on, and also what lights we've not yet switched on. So it would relate to who we have been, who we are now, and who we are not yet. So it's a vast research. It feels like it kind of goes everywhere, particularly into personal development, spiritual development, and of course, healing. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to be introducing some of the maintenance lights, the lights we meet and experience in our early years. And the divine light, which you could call the light of lights, really fundamentally takes us deep into our beliefs about life in the universe and our deeper connection. And also is almost like the light that is the master light for all the other lights. So that's a little bit, we could talk for about 6 hours about this.
Well, thank you, Martin. That's perfect. And we've come to experience it, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to have a little more understanding of where this is going to take us. But over the next 7 sessions, we're going to look at the seven first lights. And today we're going to start with first light of the divine light. So shall we move into a meditation space, and let's go on a journey within. So Martin, I ask you just to mute yourself if you'd be good enough. And let's just change this. Thank you so much. And let's move into a meditation. And to start with, Martin shared some words which really resonated with me, which was said by St. Francis of Assisi. All the concentrated darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. That's a vast statement. So let me settle us down, and then I'll read that again. So I invite you to find comfort in the present moment, and that's what mindfulness is. Being present to the physical body and finding more comfort. So wrapping a shawl around you, making sure that your feet are on the floor, that you've got this sense of symmetry, both feet resting on the floor. If you're lying, feel the heels of your feet resting against the floor, or your knees if you're sitting cross-legged. And then if you feel that you're safe, your space is safe, I invite you to either close your eyes or softly lower the gaze. And in this space, we're going to start bringing ourselves into a place of alignment. And we're going to do this through the breath. Our major sense is the sense of sight. The next sense is a sense of hearing. So notice what you're hearing in the room. And what you're maybe hearing in the body. You may be able to hear the breath entering the body. Finding that sense of comfort and noticing as we settle into our space, notice that the spine is in alignment, the natural curvature of the spine, and that you're sitting on your sit bones rather than the base of your spine. It allows you to stay in a meditative position for just a little longer in more comfort. And notice the position of your hands, taking the shoulders maybe up and back to expand the space across the chest. Allowing the breath to expand the chest on the in-breath and then fall as you breathe out. And if you're able to do this through the nose, the more yogic breathing, it has a greater effect on the mind-body coherence. But we always stay within comfort. So notice if that feels comfortable, and then simply move into that space where you're conscious of the breathing, but it feels relaxed and natural. And as we do this, the body starts to settle and the mind follows. So let's now move into a breath awareness of breathing in for the same amount of time as we breathe out. This is self-regulating the vagus nerve, bringing the nervous system into that state of restful awareness. So if you're able to, breathe in for the count of 5 and keep your attention around the heart space, around the chest. And then breathe out for the count of 5. No need to have a rest in between. Make it a flow breath. Breathing in for 5 and out for 5. And if you find this too short or too long, this is the self-regulating practice. Make the in and the out breath the same. Let the count go and breathe in naturally and out naturally. And we're going on an imaginative journey. And we find ourselves in a log cabin. Picture that log cabin. You're in bed, in a warm, comfortable bed. And it's early in the morning. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning and it's warm. And you are drawn by a feeling to rise out of bed and to take a walk in the darkness. So you get up. You've got enough clothing on that you still feel beautifully warm. And you leave the shelter of your log cabin and you feel the warm earth under your feet. And you turn left, and in front of you is a forest. You feel absolutely safe, but you're very keen to walk barefoot on the earth. It's this drive, the urge, the yearning to connect with Mother Earth. And you walk barefoot on the earth and you feel the springiness of the moss under your feet. And as you walk, you feel very grounded. You feel supported by the safety of the trees as you enter the forest. And there's little twinkles of light from the stars and the moon, gently lighting your path. And you feel very grateful for the silence and the stillness. And you walk among the trees. And you feel this expansiveness of open-heartedness with this sense of anticipation. So you touch the trees. You touch the leaves. And you become curious because you can hear the sound of moving water. And as you walk slowly through the trees, the saltiness of the air, you can smell it, you can taste it. And you see the opening of the trees. You feel the moss under your feet. And you feel the moss turn to sand. Then you walk through the trees, and in front of you is the ocean and the dark sky. You feel incredibly curious for being there with this inner urge. And you see next to you a chest, and you open the chest, and in there is a beautiful, huge blanket, bright red. And you place it. You place it on the sand, and you see your name written in gold in the corner, and it makes you smile. It's your blanket. It's your space. It's on the warm sand, and you sit, and there's enough to wrap yourself in it. You feel very contented as you settle into the stillness. And you're simply being present to all that is around you, the smells, the textures of the blanket around you. And you know you can let go. And you look beyond the gaze. You allow the mind to travel long distances. And you appreciate the wonder of being here, being present, being still. Your gaze is beyond, and then the glimpse, the first light appears, a band of light appears in front of you. And you're so appreciative of its appearance. And you wonder at its appearance. Where's it come from? But you see it, it's there. This first light. The light of the divine. First light of the day. And you take a mental snapshot of it. See it in your mind's eye. Be with it. Be present. Embody this light with your whole being, the divine light merging with the personal body. You are the witness. You are the light. Be with it. As you experience this sense of awe, these divine values of love and peace, hope, another day, and that open-hearted sense of courage. You feel this expanse. Hold the light within. Marvel at this miracle. You feel the lightness of being. The light remains within. And it feels time now to stand up, to fold the blanket, to put it back into the treasure chest. The light is still there, this band. You have it in your mind's eye. And it's time to return. And you're feeling grounded. You can feel your feet on the sand. And you walk towards the forest. And you feel the cushioning of the moss. You feel and sense the radiance of the trees, and that you in this light body are one with the trees and with the mycelium network under your feet. The sense of awe and wonder remains within you as you walk slowly. You merge as one. You are filled with divine light. Walking slowly now back to the cabin. And you walk and open the door. And you sit in the chair. And you rest within the awareness of what you have witnessed. See this again in your mind's eye. The glimpse of the first light. Feel it in your very being. Feel the feeling, whatever that feeling is. And giving gratitude to this light, having witnessed something so profound. Giving thanks to the celestial causal realm for this vision that you witnessed. You can witness again and again through your mind's eye. Feel the expansiveness. Awe. Appreciation. Wonder. Embodying the light. We are light beings. And when we fill ourselves, we can radiate to each other. So rest for another moment in the stillness and the silence. And then you become aware of your breath, and we start to bring our light body back into a grounded state, energized but grounded. So let's do this through breathing in again, a natural breath in. Feel the breath entering the nose and the chest expanding. And the chest falling as you breathe out, naturally flowing this breath. And if it feels comfortable to do so, make the breath longer so that you feel it in the belly. Relax the belly. And breathe out really slowly, tucking the navel into the back to fully exhale. And then feel the universe breathe you naturally. A huge, beautiful, soft breath. Probably a deep breath. Notice that breath. And notice how you feel with kindness and compassion. So let's now feel our feet on the ground as we start to come back with this sense of lightness, knowing that we can visit this space again at any time. Press our feet into the floor and then lift the toes and wiggle them. Gentle movement to start with. Feel the fingers and wiggle the fingers. And notice as you do this that the breath starts to slightly deepen. A little bit of movement brings energy to the body and the breath responds in kind. And then breathe consciously a little deeper. And then let's rub our hands together to energize ourselves a little more. This brings warmth into the body. And then, if you should like to do this, with a mindful breath, and your eyes are still closed, take their arms out, if it feels okay to do so, as you breathe in, and take them up to the side and maybe all the way to the top of the head if that feels comfortable. Stretch that spine. And then on the next breath out, take your arms down and wrap them around you. This feels beautiful to do this, connecting with yourself with gratitude for having taken this journey, knowing that first light comes every day, but you can bring yourself there through the powers of the imagination. So taking the hands down, bringing the palms together and resting them against the heart space. Feel the thumbs against the chest and feel the rise of the breath. And feel the fall of the breath as the chest moves. Take the thumbs up to the third eye. And then back down to the chest. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Maybe lower the gaze to start with. And then bring the gaze in time. There's no rush here. Bring the gaze back up to the screen. And we greet each other, for all of us who've been in this practice now and who are able to watch this later, or watch it again and again, and take that light into yourself, fill yourself, and then you become a radiant beacon for others to share that light with, and that love and that peace and that hope. So I'm going to now ask Martin to come back and join me for a few minutes. And we'll keep the recording going just for a couple more minutes. So Martin, may I just ask you to unmute, and I will pin you as well. We're together again. And just whilst people are gently coming back into this space, is there a few words that you'd like to share? Could I, just before I ask you to do that, could I say these beautiful words again from St. Francis of Assisi? All the concentrated darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. 12th century. Are there a few words that you'd like, Martin, to share before we move into conversation with everybody who's present?
Well, given that was said 800 years ago, that unto itself is incredible, but a saying would still be as relevant today as it was 800 years ago. So think, well, what experience did St. Francis of Assisi have that he was so moved by the potency of light that he could say something that lasted for eternity? What light was he moved by? What does that tell us about the power of light? And what does it tell us about what light actually is? That all the concentrated darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. So, yeah, I find the saying filled with awe. I find the going to witness the first light an experience of awe. It makes me wonder, does the awe we experience get released to that which has caused first light unto itself, so that the universe and creation is added to by our awe, so that which has caused first light becomes aware of its own creation, so the bank of creation force and influence is added to, so more magic tricks can occur.
I love
via
that thought.
The power of our awe.
That we are co-creating with the realm that brought the light forward and sending it back with love and receiving. As we do, we always receive more than we give, but we don't give it with any wanting to receive. It's a natural flow, isn't it? So I'm going to thank you, Martin, so much. Stay with us, and I'm going to now stop the recording and open it up for general conversation.